Hey there, Austin Martinez, Director of Education at StretchLab, and today I'm at Stride, an indoor running studio, with their Director of Education, Steve Stonehouse. Steve's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to all types of running, so I'm so excited to talk to him today and really pair up to talk about longevity when it comes to running and how to take care of the body. So Steve, thanks so much.
Yeah, you bet.
First question I'd love to start off with, talk to me about running mechanics, right? That obviously has to be an important piece and something you guys coach on.
It does. If I was going to point us in one direction, I would say efficiency. It's about just being as efficient as you can.
Yeah.
Whether you're talking about with your arms or with, not bounding too much, or there's a lot there, but efficiency is $1 million word.
That's fantastic. So talk to me about some of the key areas that you might be coaching to inside the studio, maybe some areas that you find that some clients can improve upon.
Yeah, for sure. Two specific areas in the upper body happen kind of in your shoulders just due to kind of tightness and tension in your upper body. First, you get a lot of kind of left to right swing. Sometimes you'll see people running, and that energy going left and right means that it's not going front to back.
Right.
That's what we want. So again, back to efficiency. And then a lot of times as you get tired, we see it a lot in our classes, kind of halfway through class or in the back third of class, people just start getting real tight in their shoulders.
Okay.
Their arms swing less. And in general, if your arms are moving, your legs are going to be moving. If your arms are tight, it's just going to make your legs have to do more.
That makes a lot of sense. So that actually brings up a good point. So kind of running off of that, right? I would imagine then if you're doing those things, you're going to overcompensate in certain areas, right?
Sure,
and then that
sure.
might build up some tension, some imbalances, might affect posture in many different ways. Is that true?
It is. 80% of running and walking related injuries are overuse injuries because we're just not preparing and we're just not as mobile as we would like to be.
Uh-huh.
And 40% of those happen in your lower leg or in your foot, right? And that's no surprise because that's the contact point, to the ground with your body.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Absolutely.
So going into this, right, and one of the biggest areas now is like, how do you take care of your body, right? Because you want to continue to run, you want to increase your longevity.
Yeah.
So what do you see the importance being when it comes to proper preparation, but then more importantly, how you recover after so you can continue to run forward?
Yeah, preparation again is our key word there. We've got kind of a pretty thorough warm-up in all of our classes. What you'll find in that warm-up is a little bit more active and dynamic mobility and flexibility, as to where post-workout you're going to get a lot more of kind of the traditional kind of static flexibility. But pre or post, at least in a class setting, is just going to be a very small portion of probably what you need. Bigger picture, and that's one of the reasons why I like so much what you guys do, is if you can get somebody that knows what they're doing and that you can tell them, hey, here's what I'm training for, here's what my workout routine looks like. That partner assisted flexibility is, it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree. Thanks so much for saying that.
For sure.
So what I'd love to do now to take you through some of the, what we do inside the studio, especially with someone who, is maybe just picking up running or someone who's trying to train for their marathon, right?
Yeah.
We can customize that stretch for any one of those individuals, which is fantastic.
100%.
I'd love to show you some of those techniques and how an
Let's do
assisted
it.
stretching program can help.
Let's do it.
So here we are at StretchLab, and Steve, thanks so much again for coming.
You bet.
So following up that most recent conversation, primarily the focus that we would look at when we're looking at stretching with a runner, stretching with someone who's training for that particular type of activity. So as we get started, I'd love to show you a few stretches that'll help in those areas.
Let's do it.
All right, so Steve, I'm going to show you the first of 3 stretches. That first one really focusing on your calves. And the way we're going to do that is really by keeping your legs straight while we're getting into that stretch, all right? So as I move you into this position, you just go ahead and relax. I'm going to rest your ankle here on my shoulder. All right, so you should be feeling the stretch running all the way back through your calf, even kind of back up to the knee as well, especially if you're holding a lot of tension. We talked about those overcompensations. If you have some tight hamstrings from running as well, you're going to feel a lot of tension in the back of the knee, and that's something that your flexologist will be able to modify for you to make sure that you have a comfortable stretch. What I'm going to ask you to do right now is just go ahead and push your toes into my feet. So a little bit of a gas pedal downward. Go ahead and push for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Fantastic job, and relax. Good. And notice we can get a little deeper into that stretch. It's not a surprise. That's actually PNF, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, and that's the specialty here at StretchLab, and another type of stretching we'll focus on. What it does ultimately is it allows us to contract that muscle so we can actually get a little bit deeper than you might have thought of. And that's again going to help us towards our goals. All right, Steve, now I'm going to show you that second stretch, right? And kind of keep it on that theme of lower body because we talked about how important that is for runners. I'm going to work into a TFL IT band stretch. So TFL stands for tensor fascia lata, which is actually a muscle up into your hip that's commonly used when you're doing hip flexion and extension, which is that running motion. And then IT band's really just that connective tissue that runs down towards that knee. But anyone who's getting runner's knee or anything kind of on the outside, they all are probably familiar with it. So that's why this is such a beneficial stretch. So as we move into it, Your flexologist is generally going to move you into a standard position like this, and as we take you cross body, that's what's really going to allow for this deep stretch on the outside of the hip. So what we would do here, again, really focused on breathing to relax your body, and then we can change the angle to really target different pieces of the muscle, just depending on what's comfortable for you. But again, just a really great and beneficial stretch for anyone who's looking to improve their running game. And so for our third stretch, Steve, what we're going to focus on is actually evening it out, right? We did 2 stretches for the lower body. Now we're going to work in the upper body. Something that really stood out to me that you were talking about earlier was the importance of posture, especially with running, and how you can see some imbalances and tightness, in particular in your neck, your shoulders, and even into your chest. And it's a big area that we love to focus on inside of StretchLab, is really restoring your posture by working on those areas, increasing flexibility, mobility, and range of motion. So with that, we have a lot of great stretches, but the one I want to show you here is this nice sideline stretch that's going to work on the neck and the shoulders. In particular, it's going to work on the scalene muscles. So as we work into the stretch, I'm going to slightly depress your shoulder, bringing it down. And then what I want to do here is I'll take the pillow away, and you're just going to let your head drop to the table. And what you should be feeling is a great stretch through the side of the neck here. Is that true?
Definitely.
Awesome. So with this, right, when we look at the scalenes, it's actually a group of 3 different muscles. And the reason that this is really great for runners is that that muscle group in particular has an attachment from the neck into the ribs. And when we start breathing heavily, right, when we're running, when we're getting tired and we start overcompensating, rising our shoulders, these are the muscles that really pull up on our ribs. They make it harder to breathe, and more importantly, they're going to get all that neck tension, all that shoulder tension. So it can be a great area to focus upon. And Steve, hopefully what you've been able to see over the past 3 stretches is that we can focus on a lot of areas for runners, right? Whether that's the lower body or even the upper body. And you spoke so well about overuse, imbalances, and posture, and we've been able to show the importance of that with a consistent stretching routine. So if anything, the beauty of this and what you want to look at is being able to find your local stretch lab, work with a flexologist, communicate to them what you're looking for and what your goals are for running or walking, and you can see really the benefits that a long-term assisted stretching program can bring you. Am I right?
Yeah, I feel better already.
Awesome. Thank you so much.